So before we dig in, I have a quick confession to make. I've completely missed out on the whole sleep talking, unfortunately. Although, you know, some of my closest friends have been huge fans of theirs for years. And my only serious encounter with their music was through that Drumeo playthrough video of their drummer. And as an excuse, I have a 3-year-old who's gravely scared of their masks. So since we are just playing music on the TV most of the time in our living room, it's just like it's been impossible to really, you know, play anything from them, or Slipknot, or just like bands that have masks, I guess. At least until he manages to conquer the fear of masks. Yeah. And, you know, when Mixwave guys, when they approached me about doing this video, I told them that I know barely anything about the band, unfortunately. And they actually kind of liked it. They thought maybe I can give you guys a different perspective on the drum library that they are releasing. So here we are. So from what I can recall from that Drumeo video, the music was mostly like groove oriented, very unique vocals, really cool songwriting. It's a very groove oriented drum library, and it's the first drum library from Mixwave that includes grooves. Now, I don't have that many grooves here because this is like a pre-release version, but you will get more grooves when you get the drum library. And I've used some of these grooves to create that little intro piece that you've heard. And I haven't changed a note. I combined 2 different grooves and that's it. Just created a little arrangement around those. Okay, so in terms of components, it's pretty much what you see is what you get, except that we do get a few extra snares, all of them 13-inch, which gives this library such a distinct sound. The kick drum is sitting very low in the sub region, like the sub fundamental is somewhere between the 40 and 50 hertz, and then you get that crazy popping 13-inch snare drum on top. It's a very unique sound and it makes sense. You know, that combined with the dryness of the Istanbul cymbals, you get a very, very unique drum library, or drum sound, rather. Let's dig in. Let's check out the snares. Those are the 3 snares. The first one is the default one. It's probably the one that their drummer likes the most. The second one is really popping, you know. I can't see that snare struggling to cut through the mix. And the third one feels to me like the warmest one. It has like the least mid-frequency overtones. But I can see why the first one would be someone's preferred one. It's very, very rich in the mid-range. And it sounds great. Toms. And then the kick. Super deep. Big room. This was recorded in, obviously. The cymbals are, you know, typical stuff you would expect to hear from the Istanbul cymbals, like kinda dryish, kinda trashy. For that little demo, I pretty much used the first default preset. I didn't do any extra mixing on top. The only things I did in the mixer is just turn up the snare just a tiny bit more. Turn up the bottom snare mic just a tiny bit more here, and I lowered the tuning. I turned it back up just for the purposes of showing you guys the different snares. But yeah, I tuned it down 150 cents. On each channel that you click, you get some sub-channels. So if this is our snare channel, it's pretty much like a snare group. And you get like your top microphone, you get your bottom mic, you get the amount of snare that's sent into the overhead mics, the trash, and the room. And that goes for pretty much any component of the drums. So I turned up the trash channel and added some extra hi-hats into the trash channel as well to give me that trashy, rhythmic, consistent sounding hi-hat underneath. So this is what the groove sounds like without the hi-hat being pushed into the trash channel, and then I'll slowly turn it up. That's really cool. It gives you just a lot more meat from the hi-hat. So apart from that control, you get the mix boost, you get the snare reverb, snare shimmer, and tom reverb. So let's check out the snare by itself without any of these. And then I'll turn them on to see what they do. I mean, it sounds like a nicely recorded snare drum. And if you turn on the mix, the boost, and the reverbs, that will sound pretty much like a mixed, a finished product, you know? Another really cool feature I wanted to mention, and guys from Mixwave turned my attention to this last night when I was messing around with the library. So there's this auto double kick button, which is pretty cool. So what happens is when this button is turned off, when you play the kick, it's pretty much playing it just with the one foot. If you turn the auto double kick button on, anytime you have two hits that a time interval between them is lower than what you set here. Right now it's at 200 milliseconds. It's automatically going to switch the foot. Let's hear the kick drum without it and then with it. Without. With. So you can just use one MIDI note in order to write your quicker kick patterns, and it will just automatically switch between the feet, which will make it sound a bit more natural. So this is obviously our MIDI mapping page, and you also have your velocity curves here in case you're using an E drum. And that's pretty much all you have to know about this drum library. One last thing I wanted to check is I wanted to compare the default preset to their raw, unmixed preset. So this is the default. And this is the unmixed. So in case you want to send all the different components out into your DAW and mix them yourself, you can absolutely do that, as well as use their snare reverbs and tom reverbs. Will I be using this drum library myself? Maybe. I'm at the point of my musical journey where I just enjoy recording live drums, working with drummers, and just exploring different recording techniques and all that. But for someone who's a fan of Sleep Token's drum sound, I think this is amazing, an amazing tool. Because here I pretty much just used a default preset along with Mixwave's mic stringer Maxim. Didn't do any adjustments. What you hear is what you get, and that, you know, gets me to the next point, which is that you can have your drums sounding like, you know, obviously sleep talking, like Guerilla, like you can find so many signature drum libraries these days. Same goes for guitars, for bass. You get some of the most amazing orchestral libraries, all the beautiful analog synth emulations and whatnot. The barrier to entry is so low. You just have to write good music, which wasn't the case like 10 years ago. And like the same is happening with all the other industries. Like I'm recording this on my, I think, 10-year-old camera at this point, that you can find used for like $300-400. In the gaming industry, the Unreal Engine is doing the same thing. Like you can have your game look amazing and still have it be a shitty game. So yeah, I guess my point is get some of these tools, find what you prefer, and just make music. Just start writing music. It's that easy. It's crazy, insane. Check out Mixwave. They're an amazing company, amazing guys there, super creative, very professional. And check out their new Sleep Talking drum library. The link is in the description. And yeah, I guess that's it. Stay awesome. Bye.